Have you ever felt like you weren't truly alone in the pool? You look around, no one's there, but still, you feel eyes watching from beneath the water. A faint splash against the pool wall, even though the surface is still as glass. A blurry human reflection. A name, etched into the tile floor, origin unknown. Don't click away just yet. In this video, you'll hear 3 true stories, not urban legends, not fiction, told by those who survived their encounters with swimming alone. A lifeguard begins counting more people leaving the pool than those who entered, and the last person never shows up on camera. A boy screams that something is pulling his leg from beneath the water, and a coach realizes the tiled floor is hiding something that should never be seen. And a man, after months of night shifts at Summerhill Pool, starts hearing whispers, even when he's nowhere near the water. These stories will make you think twice before stepping into any pool, public or private. We can't promise you'll sleep soundly after this, but if you dare to watch till the end, you'll see what has made so many people refuse to ever look down into the water again. And if you feel that chill crawling over your skin, just a little, hit subscribe. Not just to support the channel, but to leave a trace, in case you're no longer the only one listening to these stories. Thank you for being here. And remember, never be the last one to leave the pool. The first thing Tyler heard on his very first shift was, "Don't be the last one to leave the pool." A casual joke from the old manager named Carl, tossed over with a jingling set of keys. But his eyes weren't joking. Tyler, 18, had just graduated from high school and needed money to pay for college. The night pool job at the local sports center sounded simple. Clean up, check chemical levels, make sure no one sneaks in to mess around. Quiet shift, Carl had said. 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Just you, the lights, and the water. The pool sat in the center of an aging sports complex built back in the 80s. No windows, just rows of flickering fluorescent lights cast a pale blue glow over the water. The metal ceiling reflected faint ripples, creating the illusion that someone was swimming above. Tyler made a lap around the pool, his footsteps echoing on the tiled floor. It was almost midnight, and the silence was unnerving. Only the hum of the ventilation system and the occasional drip from overhead pipes. He sat in the lifeguard chair, soda can in hand, eyes on the glassy surface. That's when he heard it. A whisper, soft and faint, as if someone was calling his name from beneath the water. Tyler shot up, the soda can rolling to the floor. His heart thudded as he looked around. No one, no ripples, no sign the water had even been disturbed. Probably the pipes, he told himself, trying to push back the creeping panic. But as he leaned closer to the edge, he realized what truly made his skin crawl. The water was warm, as if someone had just been there seconds ago. Tyler stood still at the pool's edge, the warm sensation from the water crawling up his spine. He dipped a hand in, no one there, nothing unusual to see, but the temperature was wrong. The system was programmed to keep it at a steady 72 degrees Fahrenheit. This was closer to the warmth of fresh blood. He stepped back, picked up the soda can still rolling slightly, and scanned the area. 4 surveillance cameras perched at the corners, old, their red indicator lights blinking dimly. Tyler went to the control room, turned on the monitor, and rewound the footage from a few minutes ago. The images were grainy, jittery, but when he played the clip from 11:02 to 11:03, his heart froze. There was movement in the pool, not clear, just a long dark blur, as if something had glided under the surface. No splash, no wake, Just a silent sweep from left to right, disappearing behind a pillar. Tyler rewound, and again. But on the third replay, the image vanished. He hit play again. The video was gone. The screen turned black, and only the static hiss of the old recording system remained. "Relax. This setup's always been buggy," he muttered. Back at the pool, Tyler walked the length of the tiled corridor. Each step echoed twice. One real, one like someone matching his pace beside him, unseen. At 12:15 a.m., he heard a splash. Someone had jumped in. No alarm, no door opened, but the surface was rippling outward in perfect circles. He ran to the edge, crouched down. The pool was empty, but reflected below him. A face, not his own, pale, eyes wide, stretched past the lids. No nose, a mouth gaping in a silent scream. Tyler screamed, stumbling back, slipping on the wet tile. He hit the floor hard. When he looked again, the water was calm. No face, no ripples. But wet footprints remained at the edge, like someone had just climbed out. At 1 a.m., the ceiling light in the west corner started blinking. Not randomly, but like code. Blink 3 times. Pause. Blink twice. Pause. Then a rapid flicker. He cut power to the entire pool lighting system. The light continued, then went dark. At 1:23 a.m. inside the guard booth, the speaker system crackled. Not music, not voices. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Close. Right by his ear. Tyler spun around. The booth was empty, but on the glass door behind him, a handprint, dripping, as if someone had pressed their cheek there and smiled. Tyler locked the guard cabin tight, backing into the farthest corner, hands trembling as he gripped his phone. But there was no signal, no Wi-Fi, just white letters on a cold black screen. No service. Outside, the pool lights turned on again, all of them, automatically. Fluorescents lit up simultaneously, casting a pale, morgue-like glow. Tyler froze. He was sure. He had shut off the power. The lights shouldn't be on, not unless someone was controlling them from beneath the water. He rummaged through the cabin drawers, found a large industrial flashlight. He clutched it tightly, as if gripping the last shred of his sanity. Then he stepped out, walking toward the pool. He knew, if he didn't get answers now, there might not be a tomorrow. Upstairs, above the pool area, was an old locked office. Carl once told him, "Don't bother going up there. The cameras don't cover it." But now, Tyler needed the truth. He climbed the wooden stairs, each step pounding like a drumbeat. The office door was locked, but the hinges were rusted. He kicked hard. It burst open. Inside was an outdated control room, projectors, filing cabinets, and VHS reels from the 1990s. On the wall hung dozens of photographs, pictures of the pool, each taken from the same angle, same setup. But in every photo, a different figure stood alone by the pool's edge. Some were familiar, students, coaches who had worked here. Others, Tyler had never seen before. The last photo, moldy, yellowed, was dated June 1997. It showed a boy in red swim trunks, standing right at the pool's edge, back turned to the camera. The shot, identical to where Tyler had stood just 5 minutes ago. He flipped the photo over. Scrawled in black ink was a single sentence. "The last swimmer never leaves the pool." A chill surged up his spine. He turned. No one there. But through the fogged window behind the office, he looked down at the pool. In the still blue water, someone was swimming. Not fast, not strong, just floating. Slowly, gently. No splashes, no waves, but moving. Tyler bolted down, heart hammering like a broken drum. He shouted, "Is someone in the pool?" No answer. He turned on all the lights. stepped up to the water's edge. The figure had stopped mid-pool as if it knew it was being watched, then slowly began to rise. Water spilled upward over the cheeks. Long, black, matted hair clung to a pale face, and the eyes, wide, emotionless, stared right at Tyler. Then it smiled. But what made Tyler scream in terror was when the lips began to move. "Your shift's not over yet." And then it sank, disappearing. Not a ripple left behind. Tyler vomited right at the pool's edge, not out of fear, but because his body no longer knew what was cold, what was wet, what was real. He gathered his things and left the pool facility as soon as the sun rose, without saying a word to anyone. He didn't look back. He didn't dare. The next day, he quit. Carl didn't ask why, just looked at Tyler with sunken eyes and gave a silent nod, as if he'd seen it before, as if everyone has their turn. Tyler went home, locked his room, and slept for 14 hours straight. When he woke, he thought he'd be fine. It was all just hallucinations, pressure, exhaustion, stress. There had to be a scientific explanation. Then night fell, and as Tyler brushed his teeth, the bathroom mirror began to crack. A thin fracture ran from the upper left corner to the bottom edge. Then, a single droplet of water seeped out. He froze, turned off the lights, turned them back on. The crack was gone. Only mist on the glass, and a single sentence traced in wet finger strokes. "The pool never closes." Tyler broke down, smashing the mirror, hurling the toothbrush, and yanking every electrical cord in the room. He didn't sleep, didn't dare shower. Water had become the enemy. Every drip made him flinch. And then, on a rainy night, curled up beneath his blanket, he heard it, right in his right ear. A whisper, faint, but crystal clear. "Tyler, it's your turn. The night shift is still going." He spun around. No one there, but the pillow, damp, and from his right ear, water still dripping. Erin never thought she'd return to her old school, especially not as a teacher. She was 25, had just earned her swimming coach certification, and was working part-time for a summer program held at Brookhaven High School, the very school she once attended, and once swore she'd never set foot in again. But bills don't pay themselves, and contracts come with signatures. The pool was located deep in the basement. No windows, no natural light, faded green brick walls, a low and musty ceiling, with fluorescent lights casting a dim grayish haze across the water. The sound of gentle splashes echoed like someone whispering. The first day went smoothly, until Erin noticed the chalk drawing at the bottom of the pool. She was guiding the kids through their warm-up routine when her eyes drifted to the pool floor, and she saw a faded image, a face. Not clear, just two dark hollows for eyes, a curved line for a mouth, and smudged strokes like charcoal washed by water. No one had drawn it. The school had been shut down for 10 years, and the pool had only reopened the week before. She asked maintenance. They shrugged. "We scrubbed the floor daily. If you saw something, it was probably just a light reflection." But the next day, the image was gone, replaced instead by a name, written backward, as if, carved from below, looking up. Ari. A kid in the class, a curly-haired boy named Eerie, saw it first. He pointed, breathless. "Miss Erin, there's someone down there. Someone's watching me." Erin rushed over, leaning close to the water. No one there, but the water, she swore, was warming. Not normal. The kids didn't want to get in the pool anymore. Ari began crying. "I don't want him to grab my leg again like yesterday." Erin looked back at the water, calm. No swimmers, no divers, but still, bubbles, rising from the very center, as if someone was breathing down there. After that lesson, Erin went home strung tighter than a wire. She tried to rationalize the lights, reflections, and kids' imagination. But when she showered, she noticed a strange bruise behind her calf, shaped like fingerprints. She distinctly remembered no bump, no fall. The next day, she arrived earlier than usual. She wanted to inspect the pool before any students arrived. The lights were still dim, a few flickering like they were about to die. She stepped up to the pool's edge and stared into the water. There, clearly on the tiled pool floor, a handprint, not real, drawn in charcoal or some dark substance. 4 long fingers, sharp nails, a thumb crooked unnaturally outward. Not human. She immediately called management, but when they arrived, the image was gone. No trace, not even a smudge. The tiles gleamed like new. "You're sure you didn't imagine it?" one staff member asked, eyes darting toward the water like he didn't want to stand too close. Erin said nothing, but inside, she knew. What she saw was real. That day's lesson was tense. The children were unusually quiet. When Erin asked them to get in the water, only a few obeyed. The rest huddled on the benches, eyes locked on the pool as if waiting for a hand to rise. Ari whispered to Erin, "He's still there. He's not looking at you. He's looking at me." Erin kept her calm, soothing Ari, then turned to check the water system control panel. The quality indicator light blinked red, something that had never happened before. She tried resetting it. The light turned yellow, then went out completely. When she turned back, Ari was no longer on the bench. Panic. "Ari?" The kids were silent. One point. "He's in the pool." In the center of the water, a small shape was floating. Ari, face down, unmoving. Erin dove in, heart pounding like a war drum. When she reached him and flipped him over, he was still breathing, but his eyes were rolled back, mouth open like he'd choked. "He didn't swim there," one student muttered. "He just drifted." Erin carried him out, laid him on the floor. Ari's eyes slowly shut, his body shivering as if chilled to the bone. As Erin leaned in to check his heartbeat, he whispered a single sentence. "It wasn't the water. It was someone. They pulled me from underneath." The pool lights flickered off. The water went cold. And in the split second, the lights came back on. The surface was still as glass. But beneath it, another face was looking up. Erin took the next day off from teaching. She spent the entire morning at the town library, digging through Brookhaven High's archived records. It took over an hour before she found a small column in the archives. Drowning incident at Brookhaven High School pool, 1997. The victim was a physical education teacher named Elaine Carver, age 29. According to the report, she fainted during a solo evening workout, fell into the pool, and wasn't discovered until the next morning. No witnesses, no security footage. Only one student doing after-hours duty noted that the pool lights were still on at 9:47 p.m., long past the time they should have been turned off. There was one overlooked detail in the report. Before her death, Carver had informed the school that something was wrong with the pool, specifically the sensation of something grabbing her leg while she swam. Management at the time dismissed it as stress. Erin felt a chill crawl over her. She looked at the attached photo. A woman with long brown hair, deep eyes that seemed to stare through the picture, and through her. That afternoon, Erin returned to the school, not to teach, but to investigate. The pool was empty. No students, no staff. She turned on every light and cautiously walked around the pool's perimeter. The water was flat as glass, still enough that she could hear her own heartbeat. She decided to dive in. Wearing a snorkel and a waterproof flashlight, Erin dove deep to the pool's bottom, the very spot she used to swim as a student. She scanned the tiles with her light. In the southeast corner, she found it. A tile with chipped glaze, and beneath it, a charcoal drawing, the face of a woman, eyes wide, hair long, identical to Elaine Carver's photo. The moment the flashlight beam touched it, the water around Erin grew noticeably colder. She turned. No one. But when she shone her light upward, there was no ceiling light. Instead, someone was standing at the pool's edge, their shadow cast down, staring. Erin surfaced, gasping for air. No one there. She panted, clinging to the pool's edge, and felt a freezing hand clamp around her ankle. She screamed, kicked frantically. Her hand slipped, and her head plunged underwater. In the dark, she saw that face, ghostly white, hair floating, eyes wide open. But the most terrifying thing, it wasn't coming for her. It was staring past her, toward Eerie. She burst to the surface, gasping, scrambling out onto the wet tiles, and saw Ari standing at the corner of the pool, gazing into the water as if hypnotized. "Ari, step away from the pool." He didn't move. His eyes were wide, his voice dreamlike. "She doesn't want you. She wants me. Because I saw her first." Erin rushed over, yanked Ari away from the pool's edge, and held him tight, as if letting go would allow something to drag him back. He didn't struggle, didn't respond. His eyes remained open, staring into a space Erin couldn't see. The other children huddled in the corner, silent as if all sound had been sucked from the room. No crying, no speaking. Only the slow, steady drip of water from the pool roof. Erin locked the pool doors and called for help, but the signal was dead. No Wi-Fi, no bars. She carried Ari to the infirmary, wrapped him in a blanket. His heartbeat was slow but steady. After a while, he drifted into sleep. She returned to the pool one last time. The fluorescent lights flickered above. The water was clear. No bubbles, no smudges, as if nothing had ever happened. But Erin knew. She looked down. The tile with the face was gone. In its place was a new tile, stark white, standing out from the rest, as if someone had just replaced it. Erin left the school the next morning, resigned, left town. But that night, in her new apartment, when she turned on the faucet to wash her hands, she heard a plunk echo from the pipe, like someone diving into water, and the condensation on the mirror began to form a sentence. "The one who sees first is the last to leave." She wiped it clean in a panic, but each night afterward, the words reappeared, even if she hadn't used any water. She no longer dared to swim, never approached another pool, because she knew beneath every tile, beneath every seemingly harmless body of water, someone might be lying in wait, still, just waiting for your eyes to meet theirs. And once they do, they'll never let you go. Jake Alden used to believe that nothing could be more uneventful than a quiet afternoon at a public pool. He was the practical type, not superstitious, not easily swayed by rumors, and not someone who would quit over a little chill in the air. At 27, he'd worked as a lifeguard at Summerhill Pool for 2 consecutive summers. The job was routine. Blow the whistle, yell, "No running around the pool," then clean up and lock the gates. Summerhill Pool sat on the edge of an aging residential area, surrounded by rusted iron fencing and tall old trees casting shade across the water. By day, it echoed with laughter, splashes, and pop music blaring from teenagers' Bluetooth speakers. But when the sun went down, the place changed. Quiet, cold, and something felt off in a way Jake couldn't quite name. It started on a Wednesday evening near closing time. Jake had a habit of counting swimmers as they left before locking up. That day, he counted 8 people leaving: a family of 3, 2 couples, and a lone man in a baseball cap. But on the registration log, only 7. Jake frowned. He didn't think much of it, chalked it up to a mistake. But the next week, same day, same time, it happened again. 6 people signed in, 7 walked out. This time, when Jake reviewed the security footage, he caught a blurry figure in the frame. A tall, thin person with no discernible face, standing just a few steps from the pool's edge. Never turned around, never swam, but soaking wet. Always there near closing. Always the last to leave, but never on the list. Jake brought it up to the front desk. They shrugged. Maybe you miscounted. Sometimes the lights reflect weirdly and make it look like there's an extra person. But Jake knew how to count, and he was certain, on that night, there was one person too many, walking the edge of the water, gliding toward the exit, and vanishing from the camera. No one turned back. No one said a word. The gate was locked on time. Only the water remained, silent, as if untouched. And Jake began to dream. Dreams where someone stood at the end of lane 8, eyes staring upward, waiting for him to call their name. Jake began logging every shift in a personal notebook. Opening time, closing time, every swimmer's name. How many are left? He wrote everything by hand, more meticulously than any Excel sheet. And each time there was an extra figure, he marked it, an X, with a small note, unregistered, silent, unidentified face. It kept happening, week after week. Only on Wednesday nights. No one complained. No reports of missing items. No one seemed to notice anything strange. But Jake began spotting patterns. One regular swimmer on Wednesdays, a student named Rachel, suddenly quit, claiming she was sick. 2 weeks later, an older man, Mr. Walter, always slow in the showers after swimming, never returned. Jake asked reception. They said he moved away. But their names were still in the registry, and their final signatures smudged like touched by wet hands. One night, Jake decided not to leave the lifeguard chair, even after closing. The pool was empty, the lights dim. He stared at the water without blinking. No swimmers, no new arrivals. But at exactly 11:04 p.m., as always, the water in lane 8 began to ripple. No wind, no splash, just soft waves, like someone had surfaced. Jake stepped to the edge, heart pounding. He bent down, flashlight in hand. Below the surface, on the pool floor, stood a figure. Not swimming, not rising, just standing. Arms limp, long hair covering the face. He backed away, muttering, "No way." The figure under the water tilted its head upward, and the surface didn't break. Jake ran to the control room, pulled up the security footage. He rewound the last few minutes, frame by frame. The shadow wasn't there, didn't appear in the video. But the ceiling lights above the water, they flickered, as if someone was swimming below. That night, Jake stayed in the lifeguard booth, door locked tight. But near dawn, when he opened his eyes, there was a puddle next to his chair, small, faint, like wet footprints had circled him while he slept. No one had come in. The door was still locked. Only the water remained, drying slowly under the early morning sun. After the night he saw wet footprints around the guard chair, Jake stopped smiling. He cut back on hours, refused night shifts, but management didn't approve. "No one wants that shift," they said. You're used to it. Probably just stress." "Stress?" Jake gave a dry laugh, staring into the locker room mirror. Sunken eyes, skin ashen from sleeplessness. And the worst part was the water sounds. Even at home he heard them, dripping in the walls, whispering from turned-off taps, sloshing behind his ears while he slept. One night, he gathered the courage to access the facility's record archive. There, in a forgotten steel drawer, he found something that should not have existed: customer registration logs from 1998. Some names matched the ones he had just recorded weeks earlier. Same names, same handwriting, same dates. But 25 years ago, his hands trembled as he flipped through and found a black and white photo. Summer Hill Pool at night, closed, empty. In the photo, in lane 8, a blurry figure stood by the pool's edge. Jake fled the archive room in panic. He called the police, insisting someone had returned from the past. But when they arrived, the files were gone. The drawer was empty. No logs, no photo. No one believed him. The following week, Jake decided to run one final test. He placed a mirror at the bottom of the pool, secured with weights. All lights on. Cameras are recording every second. 11:03 p.m., lane 8 rippled again. From the guard booth, Jake watched as the surface distorted. He turned on the floodlights. In the mirror on the pool floor, there was no reflection of water, only another room, older, diamond-soiled stone stairs coated with moss. And from below the mirror's edge, someone was walking up. Jake gasped, staring at the impossible image. Then, he saw himself, in the mirror, standing at the pool's edge, leaning down, eyes locked on Jake, but unblinking, and that Jake smiled. At the same moment, the intercom crackled, emitting a soft hiss, then a voice. It was Jake's voice. "You've already been here. We've switched places." Jake bolted from the pool, didn't shut off the lights or system. He never returned. Jake left town the very next morning. He didn't file for resignation, didn't say a word, just dumped his lifeguard uniform into a trash can near the bus station, fleeing Summerhill like something was chasing him. He rented a tiny room in another city, not near a pool, not near a river, not near any water at all. He sealed the bathroom, used only wet wipes to clean himself. Faucets? Taped shut with duct tape and plastic wrap. But that didn't stop the water sounds. Every night, as he lay in the dark, he heard a murmur behind his right ear. Not clear, not loud, just the sound of someone breathing underwater. Then one night, while Jake stood in the hallway under a flickering light, he noticed. The reflection didn't match his movements. He tilted his head left, the mirror turned right. He closed his eyes. But Jake in the mirror still stared back. He didn't sleep that night. And at 3:11 a.m., he opened his eyes to find the bathroom sink, filled with water. No one turned it on. No source. Just water, icy, clear. And at the center, a dark shape, rising. He stood frozen. From within the water, a voice emerged, deep, muffled. Not words, just weighty sound, like someone calling from far below. "The shift isn't over, Jake." The voice echoed from the sink, but resounded in his mind. Jake didn't scream, didn't move. He simply stared into the mirror and saw someone else standing behind him. No reflection, no shadow, no breath, just standing there, soaked, waiting for their turn. Three stories, three pools, and three warnings, each unlike the other. A lifeguard was replaced by his reflection from beneath the water. A child carrying the gaze from the pool's bottom into his sleep. And a figure, quietly increasing in number each night, though the sign-in sheet never changes. If you've watched this far, you're not just a viewer, you're a survivor of 3 memories no one dares to retell. And if any story made you shiver, hit like as a way to admit you too have felt something wrong around water. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep exploring the forgotten dark corners, where fear doesn't come from blood or screams, but from unnatural silence. And don't hesitate to comment below which story haunted you most, or have you experienced something similar? I read every line you write because who knows, the next story might be the one you send in. See you again on a night without moon, without wind, when all that's left is the sound of water dripping near your ear.